Imagine a place where you can unwind and relax. IKEA can help you turn your bedroom into a calm oasis. From comfy mattresses to the perfect lights, we've got everything to create your dream bedroom so you can sleep like a baby. And the best part? All at incredible prices. Head to IKEA and grab everything you need. Get ready to rest, dream, and wake up feeling refreshed. Shop today at your local store or at ikea-usa.com/sleep-es and get it delivered straight to your door with our convenient delivery services.
And before we even entered into the deal with P&G, before we even started having conversations with them, I wrote in my journal that Mielle will be acquired by P&G. And I forgot that I wrote it down because I had wrote it down in 2021. Actually, when we closed the deal, I went back in my closet because that's where I do all my praying and journaling. And I just happened to be going through my journal after we closed the deal. Tell me why I'm going through my journal and I land on that page.
That's
where
crazy.
I wrote it
Wow.
down.
That's crazy.
And that was my confirmation that I was in alignment with God's purpose.
Hi, I'm Krystal Vega.
Hi, I'm Amanda Booz.
And this is Elevators Podcast, where we talk about the peaks and valleys of life's journey, from relationships to friendships, entrepreneurship, you name it, we're talking about it, and even give you a taste of the sizzling social media hot topics of the day, all through the lens of modern womanhood.
That's right. And we have a very special show. We've been trying to get this special guest on the show for so long. I love her. So let me just give you the introduction, okay? Join us today on Elevators as we welcome Monique Rodriguez. She is the founder of Mielle Organics, a trailblazing Black-owned beauty brand. Monique is a global sensation. Her company reaches 90 countries, over 100,000 stores nationwide. She is recognized as a leader in the beauty industry. Monique's a visionary. Her impact beyond business experiences empower women of color and communities everywhere. She is a wife, a mom. She is my girlfriend. Let's welcome Monique Rodriguez. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Monique.
Hey,
we're so excited.
Special.
She had to read all the card because she's like, I am not going to miss this. We need every detail and we need to hit every line because you just do so much. It's a blessing, and we're really excited to have you and to talk to you. Honestly, I feel honored. I'm like, I can't wait to sit down and have this conversation with her. I feel like I'm going to learn so much. We were talking about podcasting off camera and saying how much you learn from the person sitting across from you. So I feel very much that way today. So I'm so excited to have you.
Same. So inspired by you, your story, your journey, and appreciative of your friendship and the bond that we're building and growing. And I think that our show is going to be super complete now, having someone like you on to just talk about what it is that you've been doing and the inspiration and just you starting your company. So we're going to touch on everything, but you're not new to podcasting.
No, but I want to say you guys are amazing. First of all, the intro alone, just told me.
Thank you.
And then I've seen some of your episodes, and Amanda, I told you this, what you're doing is needed in the community. So kudos to you. Congratulations for even doing this, because as Black women, we already have a lot on our plate. We have a huge responsibility, and I feel like to whom much is given, much is required. So you guys are doing the work, and so I just want to thank you for having me a part of this amazing podcast with you two amazing, beautiful ladies. So
thank you so much. We're just honestly honored to have you here. So
same. I was literally at lunch, me and Mo were talking, and she was like, "Tell you about the podcast." So I'm telling her about the podcast. She was like, "Why? I want to come on the podcast." I was like, "Oh my God, we've been wanting you to come on." So it just worked out, and of course, all of our schedules are all over the place. It's super busy. Yeah. You're literally going to travel today.
Yes.
But we were able to find time and lock this in. So, let's have this.
Which honestly, means a lot. The fact that you even made time to do this, because that speaks a lot to your character.
Oh,
honestly.
thank you. Yeah, I was, rushing. I hope my eyebrows are in good shape because
they look like twins, girl. They good.
They look good.
I was like, I gotta leave. I gotta go.
Yes. So we're in Miami, obviously doing our show. Both of you guys are Miami natives, but as a Miami native, what are you recently been here almost a year now? Has it been a year? What are you loving Miami?
I do. I love it. I love the weather. Being in Chicago, it's cold. It's gloomy, gray all the time, and to be somewhere where it's warm and sunny. I really feel like I was born in the wrong city. I don't know why my parents didn't migrate here, but, you know, I'm like, I'm going to break that generational curse. I'm going to come here and, like, you know, bring my family up in a warm climate. So
doesn't it feel good every day? Like,
it does.
I was telling Amanda, well, you know, she's from here, so she's used to this. But I'm like, for us who, like, came over here, every day you wake up, and if you thought you was going to have a bad day, honey, that sun said absolutely not.
Yeah.
You're going to have a great day. And, like, the weather just affects my mood so much.
Yep.
So I just be happy. When the sun's out, I'm like, all right, what we doing today?
Going on a boat day, you could do the beach day, whatever you want. Miami definitely brings that energy. So
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I also feel like it helps you, like, get things done. Like, in the snow, in New York, I'm like, oh, I gotta go outside at work and do this. But down here, it's so much easier. I'm like, okay, I got 20 things to do today. We gonna get it done.
Yeah, but I also feel that this is funny to me. I feel that because it's so, like, sunny and, like, vacation like, that it makes you feel like you just want to be on vacation and not do nothing.
That's a
like,
good point.
At least when I was in Chicago, and, you know, my office was not far from where I lived. And then I worked from home a lot too. So it was just fine to just be cozy in my house and, like, do some work because I didn't want to go outside.
Right.
But now I'm like, to your point, oh, can we do a boat today? Let's go out to eat. I should be working, but, you know, so maybe because I'm not from here, it's kind of like sometimes my mind is in, like, vacation mode when it should be in work mode.
Yeah. No, I honestly can definitely feel that as well.
Yeah.
Very much a boat on a random Wednesday is a little too close to accessible for me. I'm like,
it is, especially being here.
It's very tempting.
Super tempting. So, you know, I wanted to start our conversation and talk about your amazing project you are working on is your book. Okay, so the glory in your story, let's talk about that. What made you want to share your story? What made you want to start? I know you just recently did the audio version of it too, right? So I want to talk about the process of that, but what made you want to tell your story?
Well, what made me want to share my story is because I feel like it's an amazing story, and it's a story that truly gives God the glory from, like, my testimony, where I came from, because people look at me and they're like, oh, like, you are this, you're that, like, you're perfect, and you know, they see, like, the glory, right? But they don't know the story that I went through to, like, get to where I am today. And, you know, I always tell people, like, never hate or be jealous of anyone's success, because you don't know what they went through, and you may not want to go through what they went through in order to achieve that success. And, you know, people ask me all the time, like, can you mentor me? Like, what is the blueprint? Like, people want to know, like, how I was able to build a company, like, from scratch. And I wasn't, you know, a celebrity or anything. I didn't have a lot of followers. And people, like, want to know, like, what are the steps that it takes? Because we don't see it a lot, especially, like, Black women in our community that have built something from the ground and have done some historic things. And I feel like this is my gift to my community, to share and to be very transparent and vulnerable. Like, I've shared some things that I've never shared to the world. So that was a little, like, you know, hard for me to do. But I feel that people can look at my story and probably see something in their own life, in their own story. And, you know, we all go through painful things, trials and tribulations, but there's always glory and beauty in that pain. And I think that when people, like, really peel back the layers and understand my story, they'll be able to relate and say, like, I can see the glory in my story, and here's how I can do X, Y, and Z and pursue my dreams. Because I really feel like I just want to encourage people to follow their dreams. More importantly, because, you know, the most dreams that you'll find are in the graveyard. A lot of people die without pursuing their dreams.
She said that a couple weeks. Wow, did you guys talk about this?
No.
She said the same exact thing.
But it's so true. And if I feel like, you know, there are a lot of, like, unhappy people, and I feel like a lot of their unhappiness is equated to, you know, not having the courage to do what they truly love and being fulfilled in life. So therefore they spill over negativity into someone else's life. When if you just follow your dream and your passion, like, you would be much more happier. So
yeah. I love that you are doing that, though, because I always thought about, like, what it takes to write a book and how vulnerable you have to be.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm curious, is there a part of this, if there's, like, one part that you could pick, right, of this book that you kind of had to really tussle with yourself about including? What part is that of the book, would you say?
Yeah, I'll give you two. It's the story that I share about my dad, my upbringing. And I won't give it all away because, you know, it'll be in the book. that was very tough for me to share, because it brought back a lot of like childhood trauma, memories. But the reassurance that I had was that my dad wanted me to share that story, because he's like, your story is going to help someone else. And he told me, like, he's the one that actually encouraged me to write the book. Like, I've been wanting to write a book for a long time, but, you know, kept putting it off. Yeah. And one day he just called me. He was like, you should write a book, because, like, you have accomplished the American dream. And it's like, you know, knowing where you come from and what you've gone through as a kid. And he takes credit for it. He's like, I know what type of dad I was growing up. And he's like, you beat the odds. And he's like, you should share your story, because there's other little girls that may need to hear that. So that was tough to, like, talk about, like, my upbringing with my dad. And then also it was, well, no, I actually have 3, like, to talk about, like, the loss of my son when I was 8 months. That was extremely hard. Even recording the audio, like, I had to take several breaks, because I couldn't even get through, like, the entire chapter without, like, crying. So that was hard. And then also sharing, like, intimate details of, like, my marriage, because I am a, like, very private person, but I wanted to be able to share, like, vulnerable moments, because people are curious of, like, how you build a company, a successful company, and still have a successful marriage. So those are, like, 3, like, tough, vulnerable parts that, you know, was tough for me to share.
And I mean, I'm excited. I'm definitely going to pick up the book, because to your point, I feel like people can very much learn from you in terms of, like, how you built a business, but also, like, went through life, because I think a lot of times, to your other previous point, like, life kicks our butt so bad. Life be lifing, and it's so easy to throw in the towel on your dreams. So, like, to see somebody, especially, like, another woman of color who's done it and who's been like, listen, this is how you navigate through the night, you know, through the dark times. I'm excited to pick up the book and learn more too.
Same. And I love that your story also is so relatable in some aspects, because, like, for me, coming up as, like, you know, my mom's Jamaican, my dad's Haitian, I talk about this on the show all the time. They always want you to secure a career in a field that, you know, you're going to always have a job. And sometimes your dream gets deferred a lot of the times, and you're stuck in this 9 to 5, and you're doing what, you know, is bringing you the paycheck, but it's not fulfilling you. And I think so many people can relate to that. So I'm happy that you talk about that often and share those vulnerable parts with yourself, because, like you said, like, those things are going to inspire so many people. So one of the things I wanted to ask as well is, what do you want people to get from this book?
Well, what I want people to take away is, you know, finding their own relationship and connection with God, first and foremost. I want people to be able to take away, like, what it is that ignites their fire, their passion, how to identify what that passion is, and go after your purpose, discover your purpose. And I think that people are also going to learn a lot about just business in general, like, you know, how to not be taken advantage of, because I also share moments where we were taken advantage of, like, growing our business. And
if you've listened to the Elevators podcast for a while, you know how important acceptance is when it comes to personal growth. And you know who else is big on acceptance? Discover.
You see, Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. That's a whole lot of places and a whole lot of acceptance, which is great for Discover, but even better for you. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report, learn more at discover.com/creditcard.
You know, how to not be taken advantage of, because I also share moments where, and people can learn from those type of mistakes. So I also share, like here's the mistakes that we did, so, like, someone can learn from that. And, you know, I feel like also just balancing, well, I won't say balancing, but prioritizing the things that are important. Like, for me, it's God, family, and business, and how I was able to, like, prioritize and maintain all of this while still growing a very successful company. And also the importance of, like, what does normal trajectory of scaling a business looks like.
The Quarter Pounder with Cheese had many great things. Maple-flavored griddle cakes isn't one of them. McDonald's breakfast comes first. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
And what that looks like is having a successful exit at some point in your career, which is what a lot of people don't understand. Like, we all build businesses, brands for a long-term goal. Like, you don't create something to create it and be working that thing for the rest of your life. You create it to create some form of generational wealth for your family and for your community, because philanthropy is very important for us. So I wanted to also show like the ins and out of like what it actually looked like negotiating my deal and the process of like even selling my company to P&G. So it's a lot of different like moving parts, but I feel like in each chapter there's a takeaway that you can learn from.
Ooh, this is gonna be the book that
I'm
everybody
like, you are
needs to get.
preaching
Look,
to me.
everybody needs this book, and it's gonna be coming out in April, right?
April 15th.
April 15th.
2 days before my dad's birthday.
Really?
Wow.
Oh,
That's a double celebration. That's awesome.
So April 15th, and you're gonna be going on a book tour as well.
Yes. Yep. Mm-hmm.
What does that look like for you?
So I start in, I believe, New York around April 15th. I don't know the exact dates off the top of my head, but I know I'm going to New York.
We might need to get in New York.
It's going to be one here, Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, okay.
Atlanta, Houston, and Chicago. Duh, where I'm from.
Okay, of course.
Okay, cool. Those are great cities.
Yeah.
Big cities, the major ones.
Yeah, we may be adding a few more, so.
I love
but
that.
that's to start.
Okay, that's exciting. I'm excited for this book for you. This is going to be fun. So you can definitely get your book. So pre-sales are already out now. So you can
Yes,
definitely.
thegloryinyourstory.com. You can order pre-sale. You can get some free perks, you know, with the pre-sale order. So
I love to give like tangible tips to people, and I think that a lot of times, especially as entrepreneurs, we're like, oh, like I need more money, I need investors, I need this and I need that, and like that's all cool and stuff, but like it's important to know what to do with the money when you get it. So like, what were kind of the key players you feel like you needed on your team, because you also talked about like solidifying a good team, that really helped you grow and take to the next level? So was that a counsel? Was that an accountant, like you said? Like, what did that look like? And kind of like, two-part question, where did you feel like monetarily did you put money that helped your business grow?
Yeah, so when we took on our first investment with New Voices, we were very adamant about finding the right team, because we knew that once we take on people's money, like we want them to have a return on their investment. We want to be able to continue to grow and build the business. So we started bringing on like director level type of employees, you know, in the initial stages to help us grow. Every person that you bring on, of course, you're going to have to pay them, but they should add to your revenue. So really, they should pay for themselves. And so we got to the point where we, you know, were able to have director level people for our infrastructure and operations. And then once we took on our investment with private equity, you know, that's a bigger game. It's a whole nother beast. And they were instrumental in helping us find C-suite executives. So now we're at the VP level. So we, you know, brought on a VP of sales. We brought on a VP of marketing. We brought on director of operations. So really just solidifying like our infrastructure and finding the right people that had experience. And that was another thing that they were really good at, is finding C-suites with great experience in scaling brands, was very instrumental in like our growth. And so when you take on like investments, you create like this strategic plan. So the strategic plan should include like the people that you're going to bring on to help grow the brand. The strategic plan should also include how you're going to scale, like where are you going to make the strategic investments. And for us, we knew that if we invest heavily in marketing, that we would, you know, see an exponential return. So when the key is like just putting a plan together to figure out like how you're going to invest so these investors can get a return on their investments. And all money is not good money. Make sure you can work well with those partners is another like key. And I'll say one more thing. And then, you know, it's important for founders to know, like, sometimes you can't help it, but if you can not dilute your shares early on, then don't dilute your shares. If you can get scrappy and continue to grow and bootstrap as long as you can, because that's one of the reasons why we were able to do majority ownership when we did private equity, is because we didn't dilute our shares in year 1 or 2, right? Because we were profitable enough at that time to like continue on and reinvesting back into that business. So don't be so quick to take on investment money. If you can still grow, you can plan that out and see how far you can grow without it, because it just makes you have a better exit in the long run, the less you dilute.
That's really good to know.
For me, I wanna know the feeling. I'm like, because this is such a huge accomplishment. When you got the deal and it was yes, and it was like it officially happened. Like, what did you do? Like, I would have screamed to the rooftops, got on my knees. Like, what is it that you did that you were like, oh my God, like, thank you. Like, what was that feeling?
The first feeling was, thank you, God. Thank you, Jesus. Like, that was first and foremost. And then it was like, wait, is this like, did I just really do this? Like, is this a real thing? But then that's like imposter syndrome. Like, yeah, this is the real thing. You did that. Like, you go through like those phases. And then I was just like, let's go celebrate. Like, because I feel like you should celebrate your wins. And I think when you're in the grinding stage, like we had so many milestones and accomplishments that we didn't celebrate because we were just like, okay, what's the next? But you got to stop and smell the roses.
So true. And
stop and really reflect like, wow, God has really like blown my mind. You got to stop and reflect to see the goodness. And so when we did the investment with Berkshire, we did take the time to stop and reflect and to just celebrate and enjoy like what we had accomplished.
What was that celebration like?
So we went to Turks and Caicos.
Yes. I love Turks. Did you love it?
I loved it.
Oh,
yes.
Turks is so
it's
beautiful.
So beautiful. The water is beautiful.
Yeah.
And then with P&G, what did we do? I forgot where we went, but we celebrated that as well.
That's
awesome.
That's beautiful. Yeah. One thing I wanted to also ask, was Mielle always your first company that you started, or was there other business ventures? See, and I think it's so important to say that.
That's important to say, yeah.
As we are also entrepreneurs and growing entrepreneurs in our own right. I done so many things and closed a couple businesses. So I would love to hear that. Like, your journey as an entrepreneur wasn't just with Mielle.
Yeah. Mielle was the first successful business venture that I did. But yeah, I got into like multi-level. I started with multi-level marketing. So I was first I started as a cable. It was a cable company called ACN. And Melvin and I did this together. And we went, had our little parties trying to sell cable. I was like 19 or something.
You had the vision at 19, girl. I was not thinking about that at 19.
Long time ago. And then I branched off. I was like, okay, I don't want to sell cable. It's not something I love. So I've always loved beauty. So then I decided to be a Mary Kay consultant. Did Mary Kay for a little bit, flopped. Then I did Avon, flopped. I pretty much signed up for any multi-level marketing company that said, oh, if you pay $100, you're going to be a millionaire overnight. Oh yeah, sign me up. So I did it. I did Scentsy Candles. And so I started there, and then I decided to pivot, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm in the nursing field. Registered nursing was my career. And I'm like, I'm going to start a nursing agency. Like, this is what I know. Created this business plan. At the time, I was working agency. And agency is when you work for this company. You don't work directly for the hospital. And they plug in nurses where, they have, like, call-offs or if they have a need. And, they pay the agency. The agency then pays the nurse. So my mind was spinning like, oh, so wait. You're getting paid for me to go to this hospital and you're getting your cut and then you're giving me the rest. I'm like, oh no, I could do this. So created this plan, and then I realized like, oh, I don't have any relationships with any of these hospitals. Didn't know how to go about getting these relationships and connections. So I quickly gave up, and I was like, that's not for me. I'm gonna just go back to what I know, and that's seeing patients. And then I dabbed into jewelry. So I created a jewelry company on Facebook. And I was like driving in my car, like meeting people and selling jewelry like out of my trunk. And that quickly dissolved too. And so after that, I decided that I was going to go back to school because I'm like, okay, maybe entrepreneur is not for me. I'm going to go back to what I know, what's safe, what's comfortable. I'm going to go back to school, get my degree, and become a nurse practitioner. Went back to school twice. First time I got pregnant with Mackenzie, she was born early. So that, dropped out of school to take care of my baby. Went back to school the second time, got pregnant with my son, and unfortunately he passed away, and that just like ruined my whole like situation. I dropped out of school, obviously, and God gave me the vision to go on social media and just talk about hair and what I was really passionate about, and that's when the door opened for Mielle. So,
wow,
I have a
lot of detours.
Yeah, and because you had so many detours, my question is, how were you able to decipher in all those situations, right? Or like, this isn't a low season in terms of business. This is just actually not for me and not working. Because there's a difference.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think the first thought was I wasn't getting any sales. Like I had like the initial like, parties and had sales, and like that was it was kind of like dry. And I knew that I was doing it for the wrong reasons. So you have to have a great sense of self-awareness to check your motives and your heart. And I knew that when I was doing those things, I was doing it because I was trying to get rich quick. And nothing that, you create is going to be a get rich quick scheme overnight, right? Even building Mielle, it's been years of building this brand for it to have the success that it's garnered. So my motives and my heart wasn't pure. I was really trying to get out of being a nurse because I did not like my career. I did not like going to work. I love taking care of patients. I like serving, but just the overall politics and the stress of being a nurse, I just didn't want to do it. So I was chasing like money for the wrong reasons and not really like finding and seeking purpose. So I was in it for the wrong reasons. That's number one. And then number two is just obviously like, I wasn't getting any sales and any type of leads or new customers. And then number three, I would say not having the right mentorship and people around me, which is why like doing what you guys are doing and bringing lights to founders and women that are successful and doing great things. I didn't have any of those type of examples. So I didn't even see that there were women that looked like me that were able to like achieve something so massive and so successful. I saw women that worked every day. So not even having those type of examples, to look up to or to ask questions like, is this normal? Is this just a down season? Is this something that I need to pivot? Like, no, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just doing things for the wrong reasons. And so I just had to go back to what I knew and what was safe and comfortable, but that's what I was exposed to. So
yeah, I'm so happy you're saying that.
Yeah, you speaking to me right now, because I'm like, I have these conversations with myself where I'm like, is this a low season or am I going in the wrong direction? So it's good to have, I guess, like that moral compass.
Yeah, and to check your heart posture. And you got to check to make sure that, because also a lot of the times we know when we're doing something, like you said, if it's for a check, or we know when we're doing something and it's like, even if, and I think a lot of the times, even when it relates to like what we do for a living, like there's times that if I didn't get paid for hosting something, like granted we are trying to make a living, but it's just genuinely something I'm passionate about. You know what I mean? So it's something that if I didn't get funds behind it, that is something that I wanted to pursue. You know what I mean? So I think it's so, I love that you said that. And I love that you told us about all these different business ventures, because a lot of the times, like, we know that it's not just the first business that takes off. It takes time, and it just, it really makes you dig deep to see what it is that you truly are passionate about. And that's the thing that you're going to want to do day in and day out, whether you get that sale or not. Yeah.
And I think you made a good point. Like, would you do it if you were not getting paid for it? I think that's what it boils down to. And with Mielle, like, there were times that we were not getting paid. We had to not pay ourselves to make that sacrifice to pay our employees. But we still have to show up every day with a smile on our face, right? Because we knew the end goal. And I think you all do something to make a living. We all got to make a living in life, right? But I just think that money shouldn't be the only driving force behind what you do, because you're going to make decisions based off of monetary and not decisions based off of humanity, compassion, empathy, purpose, right? And we just gotta just understand, like, who's driving our decisions. Yeah, and these things take time, because you started your company back 2014, right? Was it 2014? 2014. And we're in 2025. You know what I mean? Like, it takes time to get to this success. But one of the things I wanted to ask you is, when you started in 2014, it could be even early on
with Mielle, what was that one thing that happened where you were like, I'm on the right path, I'm on the trajectory of reaching this level of success that I'm going to reach? What was that one? Was it a specific sale, or was it like a specific thing that happened where you were like, yes, God, I'm here, I'm listening? Like, what was that?
Yeah, I'll give 2 examples. The first example was honestly the day that we launched. The day that we launched, I had maybe like 100 bottles of inventory, and I thought that, you know, those 100 bottles was gonna just like hold us off for like 6 months, because I mean, I didn't know anybody, didn't have a lot of followers, and I'm like, we should be good. This will pace ourselves. The day that we launched, we sold out of everything like within that first week or so.
Wow.
And so that, I remember my husband coming to me, and he's like, what are you putting in this product that like made people go this crazy? And I'm like, I don't know, but I do know, but
I know, but
I don't know, but I do know, but we're gonna keep doing it.
Right.
And you know, I just knew that I was just doing something that was just very authentic, and I created something that I loved, and I think people resonated with the fact that, like, you know, we can see this lady's passion, and we're also like, she's also using it on her hair. Like, it gave people like trust and comfortability. And that was the moment when my husband asked me, like, what are you doing? Like, I was like, yeah, I think I'm onto something. Like, you know, just roll with me here. Just roll with me. And the second thing is, like, when we launched into retail, Sally's was our first retail partner. And we launched officially in 2017. We had our meeting in 2016, which at that point we had only been in business for like a year. And there was no brands that had retail meetings after only being in business for about a year and a half. And when we entered into Sally's, they wanted to test us into like 95 stores, because they test all new brands to kind of see like how they perform. We sold out of everything in every single store in less than 2 hours. Wow. And that for me was like, yeah, this is like something like for real. Yeah, big time that we're doing.
That's crazy.
That's huge.
And even kind of going back to what you said, saying that you sold 100 pieces in a week, I don't think people understand how big that is, because it's like, oh, 100, but like, no, selling 3 products is hard. Huge, yeah. It's so hard to sell 100 in a week. I'm like, wow, like that's
big.
Goals.
And it's hard to get a sale each day. So from the day that we launched, which was May 23rd, 2014, up until today, we have never not had a sale a day.
Wow.
So to see that growth, and remember, mind you, when I had all those other things, I never sold nothing. Had one party, that was it. Couldn't get more sales. But we had sales every single day and kept seeing growth. And that was like an indicator that like this is something major. And I will say, for like other aspiring entrepreneurs, if you don't have a sale a day, like, it is okay. It's normal. This was just my story. But if you are consistent with having sales, you know, on your Shopify, whatever platform, you know, just keep growing and keep investing into that. But I don't want people to be like, oh, well, I don't have a sale today, so like, am I not? No, you still are. You know, it's just everybody's story is different.
And you know, so we love talking about the wins, right? But I feel like with wins comes losses. And I think during those like dark times is where we learn the most.
Yeah.
So I would love to know, like, how long did that dark time last? how long? Because I mean, I don't know about y'all, but here in 2017, I'm like, that feels like just yesterday. So you started in 2014.
Yeah.
Then 2017, you was in retail stores. So it was like 3 years, and like 3 years, it sounds quick, but like also when you're in it, it feels long. So anyways, long story short, what did the kind of like the trial and error period really feel like for you? Because I know you also mentioned how sometimes you wouldn't pay yourself or your husband. So like, that's crazy to hear, you know, now in retrospect.
Right. Yeah.